Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, Versace Stoner. We're here with a very special episode of VSW Podcast. Tonight, we have a Maine legend in the house, the one and only Cousin Larry. Welcome to the VSW.
Thank you for having me.
You're synonymous with Maine wrestling. I have to say it.
I have been very involved with Maine wrestling for a very long time now.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. When did you get into it up there?
I started wrestling in the last century, 1999. Oh,
Wow.
Georgie, you'll be good. Girl.
Wow, things were still under WWF. Wild time. Um, and it must have been such a different scene. Thinking about wrestling in total. Maine must have been like totally different.
Oh yeah, when I broke in, I started with EWA, and they were the only company in the state. There were very few in the entire New England, and everybody. Let me get to another room. It seems like we have a lot of people talking here, so I'm gonna walk and talk because I'm that talented.
That's good. Most of my guests can only do one or the other.
Oh, here we go. Let's go out here. Actually, let's go on the computer here. Everybody's getting a view of my whole house. Here we go. Now we're kind of away from more people. Sorry about that. Yeah, let me turn this stupid thing off. I don't know. There we go. Much better. There. That should be a little quieter. My apologies about that.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Family life is.
Yeah,
They don't always
definitely.
listen.
I got kids. I got a son. I'm a wife. They all like to talk when I get online. They wait. They wait for the podcast to start. Then the
Exactly.
questions
No one
come.
had said anything here for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was quiet. So you started up there then, like you said. Now that was that Tony Atlas's promotion at the time?
That Tony ran it. It wasn't Tony's promotion. He was running it for James St. Jean. And I started right as he was leaving. I was involved out back, but I wasn't wrestling yet. I was the guy. We used to run in the Lewiston Armory. Tony would run like 16 matches in a 2.5-hour show. So all the matches were like 6 minutes long. And I had about a 350 foot run between every match to get the next match ready. That was my job. I worked more than I think most of the wrestlers did. It was up and down stairs, down the end of the corridors and all that. And it was just crazy. But hey, you pay your dues, you break in, That was before I even started training. That's what I was doing. So, and I started that in 98.
98. So you wanted to be into this business ever since you was a kid, yeah.
Oh, of course.
One of those things you
Of
grew up
course.
watching it.
When I was a kid, I had bad knees. I had arthritis in my knees, and I never thought I could do it. And we used to up here, everybody got that 1 hour WWF television. And then the Superstation came up here, and we got TBS Superstation, and we got NWA Saturday Night. And that's where I first saw Dusty Rhodes. And that's when I said, hey, I know I ain't never going to be Dusty Rhodes, but I didn't have to be 290 pounds, 6'4", with a physique that's out of a syringe to be able to do this stuff. You just had to be able to control emotions and do that stuff. And I said, hey, I know I can do this. It took me 10 more years to start, but I did it.
And it's true. I think that's what I liked about back then a little bit, even more than now, that the wrestling physiques were so varied that you had, yes, people that look great, like Ravish and Rick Rude and stuff, but then you have people like, King Kong Bundy, Haystacks Calhoun. He was in no shape, but I mean, he was in shape to wrestle, though.
When I started watching wrestling in 1977. So my grandmother got me into it, and her favorite was Chief J Strongbow. When I first started, the first person I really loved was Ivan Putski. He had that body, but he was the anomaly because he was only like 5'8".
Yeah. No, my dad got me into it rather young in the 80s, but he introduced me like people like Ernie Ladd, the Wizard, people like that in that era. And then I got into people like George the Animal Steel. I was a big fan of George the Animal growing up because he was someone that you look at and be like, he has to be a wrestler. There's nothing else in the world that he could do.
How about a high school teacher?
That blew my mind when I found out. When I found that out later in life, that just
Did you ever meet him?
I have met him once when I
I
was
was
much.
on a show with him in New Hampshire for Lobsterman for the AWA, and oh my lord, was he smart, man! You know,
Yeah, like, super
it,
smart.
it was the stuff he knew. It was just a learning experience. I got the AWA did a lot for me in New Hampshire. Maverick took over. He was in charge and he booked me. I don't know why, but he did. But I got to wrestle so many people there. It was such a learning experience. I worked with Coco and George was the manager against me. I had Ox Baker as a regular manager. I had DiBiase as my manager. I worked with Road Warrior Animal. I had a lot of Greg the Hammer Valentine was my tag partner. So I got to work with all those guys, and it was all because of Maverick. I don't know why what he saw in me, but I'm glad he saw it. So because
It
back
was
then, this
really
is probably 2002, 2003, still greener than as Jim Cornette would say, greener than a pepper tree. So
but I mean, but that was a great way to kinda get in because 'cause you're getting all this, like, knowledge and wisdom from all these great
absolutely,
sources,
yep,
and, you
had a
keep your
great
ears open.
time. I thought I'd wrestle 3 years, have 30 matches, say I was a pro wrestler, and move on. And that was 1,500, 1,700 matches ago, give or take, and 26 years now. So it's
Well, they
it's
say
been a
once you
been a
get in, you
roller
can't
coaster
get
that I
once you get in, you can't get out.
oh, you can't. The itch is crazy. I hit people. I hit people I like. I hit people I don't like. I walk out back and laugh about it. People hit me and we laugh about it. You get one big human callus. You don't feel a lot anymore while it's happening. After the fact, you do. You wake up the next morning and know it. But
Well, yeah, it's like a sunburn.
adrenaline's a hell of a state.
It's like a sunburn. You don't feel it when you're laying there, but,
Yeah,
later when you
exactly.
take a shower, it's gonna hurt a little bit.
Yeah, that next morning can be stiff when you sleep for 8 hours on it.
Oh, yeah. So, you broke in, you started to train. Where'd you end up training out of?
I trained with my first trainer was a guy by the name of Matt Weber that I knew in the gym. And I actually was trained in a backyard. I am not a backyarder, have never been a backyarder, but I was trained in a backyard in a wooden ring. Hey, there's my son. Say hi, Eric. Hi.
Hello.
Keep moving. Yeah, just keep going, buddy.
Hey, that's okay.
Um,
Kowalski used to train people in just a warehouse, so
oh
it
yeah, I
happens.
know. But I trained outside and out behind my boss's work was where we put the ring. It was my ring. First, Matt trained me, and then I bought the ring, and then I continued to train with Steve Ramsey, who was one of the guys in charge at the EWA. So it was, you know, I learned 16 different variations off the international spot. More than I've ever used in 26 years. But hey, I do them all.
Hey, at least you know him. I mean, but, that must have been kinda nice, though, to kinda be able to, continue the training at your own pace after the fact. You bought the ring. Now you can kinda use it whenever.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I got a crash course. When I was trained by Matt Weber, we trained 2 or 3 times a week for 2 to 3 hours a time for about 3.5, 4 months before I had my first match. But it was one on one. No one trains one on one anymore. When you're running drills, you got 12 more guys to go before you get another chance.
Yeah.
We just worked on stuff. And once I got it, there was no need I didn't have to do it because somebody else was doing it. Somebody else didn't get it. So let's keep doing it.
You
Once I
just keep
got it, I got it. We just moved on. And I loved it because, things I was having a problem with, he took care of it right away. And if didn't have a problem with it, took care of it, checked it off the box, we moved on to something else. You don't
just
get
kept
people to
going
train
with
you
it.
one on one. That's hard to do.
No, now you're in a class and you gotta wait, and then, when you're ready, you'll
Hmm.
go. But if you're going one-on-one, you kind of have someone mentoring you every match. It's like, well, you're gonna learn every match, and you're gonna
Oh
get
yeah.
better every match.
Yep.
You That's the one way I think working and, like, learning simultaneously kinda goes good together.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
was anytime I had an issue, if I want to do something what's this? Let's go do that. I didn't have to If somebody is doing something and more advanced than me, I didn't have to try to catch up to them. If they were behind me, I didn't have to, follow. I've already know this. It was so much better than I would have, and I wouldn't have been able back in the day. I wouldn't have been able to go to a school because I couldn't do 500 squats. My knees wouldn't let me. I still couldn't do it.
The
If I wasn't trained.
physicality part of it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My knees would the squatting from my back wouldn't bother me. I could do that all day long. But my knees, even though I've been in remission for a long time, you still got to be careful. You can feel them getting, you can feel it like they're getting thicker. And that's when you got to chill out. And there you couldn't do it. And people tell me, well, why can't, well, how are you able to wrestle? I said, because I do it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I'm done. And I'm not going straight. It's not like going to run. Yeah, you go run 3 miles. That can't happen.
Yeah, you've
I
worked it
know my
so that
limitations and I can do what I can do. And
and you make the match work around those
you
limitations.
got it. Exactly. Just like if somebody's got a bad shoulder, guess what? Don't work my arm tonight. You got it, brother.
Yeah, no, and that makes perfect sense. And it's great that you're able to even be able to work around that because some people would have said, "The hell with it, I can't do it. It's going to be too painful. I'm not going
Hmm.
to try. Bye, goodbye."
Yeah. No,
And
this is
that's
this is what I always wanted to do. It's been I've been able to go to 19 states. I've been to Puerto Rico twice on other people's dimes, and it is it's
so,
my
so they're paying you to come. They're
it's my
paying you to wrestle. They're
it's my
paying you to travel.
therapy. I hit people hard. I hit them in safe places, but I hit people hard. And then I walk out back and I laugh about it because I think it's funny. Wrestlers are a little twisted. You're either
Yeah,
in
I
wrestling
mean,
because you are crazy or you're in it long enough that it makes you. Well, either way, I've been here 26 years, so it's got me.
so you're a little stiff on the hits, maybe a little bit, but
Sometimes, but
safely.
it's fun. But I
It
don't
is
mind.
right.
Hit me back.
No, but then
I
you
would
know
hit.
what?
I don't hit anybody stiff in the face, but if I throw
No.
a forearm down across your shoulders, you're going to feel it. Hit me back. Oh, that was a good one. Sure was. Watch this one. To me,
Yeah,
that's
you got to
fun.
one up each other, try to see who.
Of
There is
course.
some sportsmanship in the fun of it
Oh, of
all, right?
course.
Um, at the end of the day, no one's trying to hurt each other, so you can kind of play with it and
Exactly.
let's
Not.
have some fun.
It's nothing that's going to injure you. It's a sting. It's just smacking. You walk up behind somebody and smack them on the back. It goes away, but it's just a little. Hey, watch this.
I mean, I'll be
You
honest, I've
know,
taken a few chops. They hurt for a little bit, but it goes away.
depends on who gives them to you.
Yeah, that's true. That is true
Yeah,
too. Some of them are more harder than others.
I've been told I hit pretty good for an old man.
Well, hey, you're still on the scene doing things, though. I
Yeah,
mean, you're still on it.
I'm still chopping wood, brother.
I mean, you've been going straight. You haven't taken any real breaks in between that time
No,
period.
no,
No
I
10-year
still
hiatuses, nothing
I
like that.
still wrestle probably 50, 60 times a year.
And that's a good work rate.
I'm still averaging a show a week.
That's
Probably more
good.
than that.
That's a good work rate.
Yeah. What you drinking?
Um, been into the bucked up energies,
Ah,
Miami flavored.
I do
Not
the
too bad.
ghosts. I like
Ghost
some
is nice
ghosts.
too.
Yep.
Ghost is good. I like Ghost. I like the Swedish fish flavor.
There's a bunch of them I like. I love the orange one. The
Yes.
orange cream.
Yep. Like one
Yeah,
of those
that's my
popsicles.
favorite.
Very good. So you said you were at what, 16 states? So you
19.
19. So
Yep.
after Maine and when you were doing the EWA, you must have spread out like
Oh
wildfire.
yeah. I worked for big time for a few years, and that would be my vacation. I'd have to take my time off, so I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go wrestle. You know, and I'd do a weekend shot where I'd do a Friday in North Carolina and a Saturday in South Carolina, then come back. I've been I wrestled Duggan in Georgia, and we had to skip that night. What was it? I wrestled Duggan in Georgia. It was a hurricane that was coming through South Carolina, so they canceled the South Carolina show, but our flight was in North Carolina. Wait a minute. Georgia, South Carolina was canceled. The flight was out of North Carolina, so we had to I had to drive through the hurricane to get to the airport for 2 days later. So we drove like 8 hours straight through the hurricane and all that. But down south, all the streets are marked with the neon.
Yep.
and the flippers on the inside. You hit them and they rattle your tires and stuff. So
Yeah.
we just kept on going. I'm like, nope, we're awake. Let's go, and we just kept on driving.
Yeah, no, it's true. We've driven to North Carolina from Mass before for, like, holidays and stuff because my wife's got family out there, and I mean, it's a drive, but you can do it.
Yeah,
It's makeable, it's doable.
and I love Southern wrestling. Oh, they will
Yep.
be they believe, brother. If you're a good guy, they love you. If you're a bad guy, they want to beat your ass. And
I've heard that.
it is so much fun.
I heard
Oh,
the kayfabe thrives out there, like, people actually take it serious.
yes. Yes. Puerto Rico, it thrives even more. Oh yeah. Yeah, I loved it because I grew up in the 70s when there was,
That's all it
when I
was. That's what
yeah.
made this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've had so much fun doing this, man. I drove with Tony Atlas as a buddy of mine. Uh, and when did we go? I think we went in June. We went to Quebec. We just got in the car and drove. I told Tony, I said, Tony, I was in the car for 8.5 hours. He goes, no, we weren't. We was 7.5. I said, no, Tony, it was 7.5 for you. I had to drive, come get you first. He's like, oh, that's right, you did. And we went to Quebec and had a great time and came back the day later. It was awesome.
Uh,
I've wrestled. I have bucket lists. I finished one. I wanted to wrestle in every big building that had wrestling when I started wrestling. I wrestled in the Prescal Forum. I wrestled in the Bangor Auditorium. I wrestled in the Augusta Civic Center. And I wrestled in the Portland Expo and the Portland Civic Center, which is now the Cross Insurance Arena. And so that one's done. And then my next one that I'm close to finishing is I wanted to wrestle in every state on the Eastern Seaboard. And the only one I'm missing is Delaware.
is there wrestling in Delaware?
There is. I'll get there. Like once again, when I'm on a weekend or whatever, I'm like, hey guys, I'll fly myself in. I just want to be able to get this off my bucket list because it's fun. And then if I
Find
get
your
that
local
done,
show
then I'm
and
going
go
to go
down.
around the
Mhm.
Panhandle, and then we got Texas, and we got Louisiana, and we got like Alabama. We got like 3 or 4 more states. If I can get the first one done, I might go for the next one again because I got no desire to get done. I'm having too much fun doing this stuff.
Now you said you like it down there, with the style and stuff. How do you find the wrestling? Because coming from the North is a totally different style of training and learning than the South.
Yeah, I didn't have any issues with it. I mean, people do stuff different ways, and it's who you're wrestling. It's not what the general. And it also depends on their style. If they're able to work with my style, because I'm 52 years old. I'm not wrestling like I'm 25. Even when
Yeah.
I started wrestling, I wasn't 25. So I work smarter, not harder. And I'm there to entertain. I hit people, but I mean, I'm not going to run 37 spots and jump out of the building and all that stuff.
No,
If
that's not feasible.
I'm there to entertain. you know,
But if you
I,
can
I
entertain in 10, 15 minutes with 5 spots and a good story, then why not? I
yeah,
mean, here it is, done.
yeah.
Sometimes being that smarter, less is more is smarter because you can condense things so it looks better, it's cleaner.
If I fall down 3 times, wow, look at that. I'm an old big guy, and I hit. Wow, look at that. But when I take a bump, I take a bump. I can make a ring move. I'm 260 pounds. And I got enough momentum going that I don't have a problem with that. But if you're falling down 10 times a night, how good is the 10th one?
That's
It
the
has to
thing.
it has to outdo the other nine.
And that's the other thing. Everybody also knows their bump count and what they can take, what their body can take, and
Mm-hmm.
what's going to keep them going in the game. You don't want to burn yourself out in a month of wrestling
You
when you want to
got
do
it.
it for 10 years.
Yep.
And you
Don't
see it
don't do
happen
it.
though.
Don't do everything tonight. Save something for the next show. There's all kinds of time to get all that stuff in. But if you do everything every night, what are you coming back with?
And that's the thing. And I mean, I guess it was probably easier then because there was no social media. You could work your spots there, and nobody else would see it till you
Yeah,
went to the next show. But now everybody got a camera, so they're seeing what you're doing tonight. But what are you going to do the next night? It can't be the
yeah.
same thing, you know.
But the, yeah, it's when you just have to work on for your experience of all the stuff you've done. There's a between the stuff I've done and the stuff I've watched. At this point, I pull stuff out of the '70s and '80s because they're new again.
Yeah,
You
of course.
know,
Nobody knows what they're doing.
no
Nobody
one knows any
watches
of
it.
that stuff. No, everybody's worried about their next high spot, and grab a hold and communicate with the crowd is way. You're going to sell way more tickets with your face than you are ever going to sell with your back by connecting with the
True.
crowd,
It's true. I
and
think
that's a fact.
that's where the indie scene thrives. You're able to connect with the
Hmm.
crowd. You can't do that in
Oh
WWE
yeah,
easily.
I always told people before I ever really started wrestling, I started going to EWA, and it was great because you could be in the fourth row. That means that there's 250 people, 300 people in front, 200 people in front of you, and another 150 or 200 back behind you. But you're in the fourth row. You yell at the guy in the ring. He turns around and answers you. You go to WWE. I wrestled in front of thousands of people, and you can't hear anything.
No.
All you hear is you can't hear anything. So there is no interaction with the crowd.
And
You know,
and
it,
and
it,
that makes you kinda work a little differently too. Now you
exactly.
don't have that kind of break, where in the indie, it's closer, you can kinda turn around. You need a little breath or something. You can turn around, engage with a fan for, like, 3 minutes, and get back in the ring, or
Yep.
do something just to kinda distract. But it's also great for the fan. The fan gets to go there, they don't have to spend an arm and a leg, they get to see their favorite superstars at intermission, they get to get autographs, they get to meet them, they get to see when they're gonna see them again, like,
Yep.
so you get to build
Absolutely.
that foundation, and once
Yeah.
you do that, they're fans. They'll come
Yeah.
back every show.
Once I started going to those, I was in the business 6 months, and I went to go watch a WWF show, and the ring announcer, Tony Chimmel, and I can't remember which referee it was, they were playing tag around the ring between matches. And that's when I said, I'm done giving you my money because I've only been in the business 6 months and I still know that's wrong. And I didn't go back to a show until probably 2 years ago when my son wanted to go. I'm like, yeah, you don't need my money. I know enough that that ain't good.
Yeah, and it's like,
They weren't taking it seriously. Why should I?
but they want serious money. That's the
Oh,
problem.
they
It's even
sure
more
do.
now. The money's even more
Oh yeah,
serious
now
now.
it's crazy. Yeah, back
It's
when
like
I
it
was,
got
when I was a kid, it was $10. You won't get much of a ticket for $10 these days. You can stand
no,
outside and hear it.
yeah, not at WWE, even there. Maybe if they're like, yeah, I don't know.
No.
It's tough because the pricing is so different. I mean, indie wrestling, yes, you can still get $10 tickets, $15 tickets, $20
Hmm.
tickets, but not really for the major wrestling. And it's kind of a
No.
shame because I grew up with a time when, like, my grandparents that would be something they would do. They would go to the Boston Garden every weekend to see wrestling. Wasn't expensive, pretty cheap. But now it's like, okay, well, there's the indie scene, which now is thriving a lot more. I'll be granted. When we started, as a kid,
It
went to an indie show, there was nothing there.
Yeah. It
It was like
it's
Honky
it's
Tonk Man.
it's so much different, so much more different. It's um if the promoter puts their time in and does what they're supposed to, almost every it may not be enough for what you need to pay the bills, but if you can't pull 150 people on any show without some extenuating circumstances, there's an issue. You got to, as a promoter, I am a promoter. As a promoter, you got to book wrestlers that are going to fit your budget. But there's no reason why. I'm in Maine. There's nobody in Maine. There's only 1.2 million people in this entire state, and Maine's as big as the rest of New England in size.
It is.
Oh yeah, and so but you pick your town. I've done it for a long time, so you learn what works in some towns and what doesn't work in other towns. There's some towns you just stay away from because no matter what you do, you're never going to draw. Big time wrestling went to Saco, and they did the bombardment that they always did, and they had like 4 or 5 names on there, and they drew like 250 people. That's
They
not good
brought
for
it. They
that's
they
not good
brought
for
Ace
big
from
time.
they brought Ace Romero in for that money with those numbers. He's from
No,
Saco.
they brought in like Ron Simmons,
Oh
and
Jesus!
oh no, they brought in like 4 names.
Like big
And
name
oh
being
yeah,
not
and
indie names.
they only oh yeah, and they only did
Yeah,
like
son.
no, that's not good.
No, so you don't wanna run a show back there again, you keep that in your back of your head, and you think
Yeah,
about, like, even without names, it's a loss, so it's like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
and you
But
pick
I
the
mean,
places that
I
you go.
run that my shows when I run a show. How long's an average movie?
So 2 hours?
Okay, about an hour 45. Okay, my shows are now that the reason is that's the attention span.
It is.
If if they were making money on 3 hour movies, there'd be a lot more 3 hour movies.
Yeah, but people get up halfway through the movie for a
Right, well,
cigarette.
that's what I'm exactly. But that so my shows are between an hour 45 and maybe 2:10, and that includes intermission.
That's
My
good, though,
show
I
Oh,
like that
yeah.
because it's
My
like
shows
match,
are
match, match.
my shows are 6 matches and done, we're going home.
Because you see some shows and they get going, and then all of a sudden you could tell something went off with the clock because we're an hour over and it's almost 11 o'clock at
Oh,
night,
yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
I wanna go home.
Yeah, my shows start at 7, they don't start at 7:30 or 8. My shows start at 7, they're done by 9, we're out of the building by 10. Everybody, if they wanted to do something else, if they still wanted to go out to the bars or whatever, they still can. Those shows that go on at 11 o'clock, their night's already over. They spent 4 hours doing this crap.
Then they gotta drive for 4 hours home.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about fans. And
Oh, the
then,
fa
yeah, I'm
sometimes
talking
too,
about,
I mean, I come to Maine all the time for Mass, and depending on the show,
oh,
I've been up
yeah.
to, Brewer. It's a
Oh, yeah.
six-hour drive almost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. From Brewer. Yeah. I was just in
Yes,
Brewer a few
granted, I
weeks
can
ago.
get to, I can get to a probably a Gino show in about 2.5, 3 hours.
Have you been to Geno's?
Not yet, I want to.
Oh, dude, you
I've
got to
been to the
go.
dispensary near there. There's one right next to it, and then
There's dispensaries everywhere in this state.
no, I know, but what back
There's
in the
one right
day,
across the street. It's called not. It's down the street, probably 500 feet on the other side of the road. The Hazy Hill or something like that.
Maine is crazy right now for cannabis,
It's
but when Mass first
Geno's.
started,
I'm not a weed guy, but it is everywhere.
it is,
Oh my! Every town, not
I'm
just
on
big
it.
towns like
No,
Portland.
no, even, like, Lewiston got a million dispensaries,
Well,
but, like,
I live in Buxton, dude. It's a town that has like 4,000 people. There's like five in this town. They're
yeah,
everywhere.
but I just know because I used to be when I got medical in Mass very, very early on in this program, and you couldn't buy anything in Mass. You had to go to Maine. So we would go to Maine. It was only the place that was open was Portland, and it was always next to the Geno's. And I just realized that last time I went out to
Yep.
Portland, I'm like, "There's Geno's. Wait, I see a flyer for a show. I got to get back out here. This is drivable."
We run it 4 times a year, standing room only. It is the most fun, the loudest building. It is as loud as the Spartanburg War Memorial. It is crazy. Okay. I've done tag matches recently there. We do them, like I said, we do it 4 times a year. I'm reaching out for the tag. The guy is this far away from touching me, and I'm screaming at him, and he can't hear me. That's how
That's
good
a
it
good.
is.
That's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
crowd.
The building only they're only allowed to have 180 people in that building at a time. And
It
it
must sell
is
out fast. It sells
packed
out.
and it is loud and it is awesome.
Yeah,
It
like I
is
said, I've heard
the
like people just
fans.
always talk about it.
Oh, yeah, the fans are loud. Okay. The fans know that, they're scared to touch the wrestlers, which is a great thing. And they know the wrestlers won't touch them, so they can say whatever they want to. And we don't care. You can say anything. I have two rules on my show. You can't say the bad C word or the other C word that sounds like the bad C word. I don't know what the rules are on your show here, so I'm not going to say them. But those are the only two rules. I don't care about the F word. I don't care about anything else, but those other two words will mess with people's heads. And it is crazy. It is loud.
So there's no kids
Fandango.
at the show, I take it. So you got
No,
like a
no, no,
nice
no.
adult crowd.
No. It's a bar show. It's 21 plus.
I like that because I mean I
That
like
is,
all wrestling, but sometimes I like to go to a place where there's no kids because I want to
yep.
like leave the
Oh,
kids at
yeah.
home and go with my wife.
Yeah. It's so much fun, dude. I come out. I don't know about the other wrestlers. I come out. They play my music, and the crowd just parts, and I walk through them. And it is
But
shoulder to
you're
shoulder. You
you're
can't
like
move.
Moses over there. You're just
Yeah,
walking
yeah,
people,
yeah,
huh?
yeah. Yeah, and I show, and I tell everybody on my shows, my wrestles, I said, I got two rules for you. I want safety and intensity. If you give me that, the rest will work out, whether it's my Geno shows or any other show. I
Now
don't
I heard
care
you
about
run really
jumping.
like I've heard you run really good shows. Like people don't complain about working for you, and that's a good
I,
thing.
Yeah, because I'm old school, man. I don't
That's
want
the
you
other
to
thing I've heard.
forget.
I was gonna say people appreciate the old school mentality in this industry because sometimes it's gone now.
Oh yeah,
Some
I don't.
promotions are all new school, and you don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, my thing is all psychology. Tell a story. You know, you're going to use your body to do it, but you don't have to kill yourself. I don't want you to. If you do, I'm going to yell at you. There's no need to.
It's not for the
You know,
TikTok. It's
you're
for
going to
the
do
to
more by
get people
putting
to
someone in
go.
an you're going to do more by putting somebody in an arm bar and telling someone to be quiet than you are by falling down 3 times. Get the crowd involved. When I have my first match, the first match on the show is their only job is to get the people to know they can make noise. Because people are still conditioned, unless you're a real wrestling fan, they're conditioned to go to the movies. When you go to the movies, what do they do? They tell you to shut up, sit on your hands.
Yeah, but
My
that's the
first
word.
match is to make people note that I want them to make noise the whole night.
You know,
And by
it's funny
having the
because
shows,
I was
and by
watching some foreign wrestling, right, like in
yeah,
England, and they don't. They're quiet during the
I
show,
know.
and
It's kind of like the super indie. They're quiet until the first car crash, then they make noise.
it's
And
like,
then
well, the
then
the
they sit
guys
on
are
their
like,
hands again and they wait for the next car crash and then they make noise.
but the
As
guys
compared
and
to
girls are
genuine.
scared. They're like, "Are we doing something wrong? What's going on? No one's
No, but
talking."
that's why my shows are different, because my whole goal is to get the crowd involved for the entire show. You're going to get way more heat with the crowd by involving them instead of performing for them. And I want them to be part of the show. What was that? I don't remember, but wow, that was good stuff. I like that. That guy, that kind of stuff. To me, that's when they go back and they remember it. No one's going to remember a specific move. It's Maine indie wrestling. There are going to be no shooting star presses, and there better not be no 450s on my show. you know. So it's much better. Do you remember when that guy he got half pants and his string bikini was hanging out, or whatever you want to call it? So the guy. Yeah, I did a show with. Actually, you know what? Can you hold on for 30 seconds?
Yeah,
My computer is really getting low, low, low. If you hold on for 30 seconds, I'll get my charger. I apologize. This has been the day from hell for me, for you, for keep pushing you off, and I apologize. But give me 30 seconds.
yeah, we'll be here. We will be here. And while we're waiting, we're just going to talk a little bit about it. Tomorrow night, that is right, at the Beachmont VFW, BWA returns with November Rain.
All right. You can hear me? I'm
I
already
can, I
plugged.
can.
Boom, boom, boom. I'm right here and I'm plugging in because everybody has like these 83 attachments for everything now.
Can't be
There
one
we go.
thing yet.
And there we go. Bam, perfect. Sorry about that.
No worries at all. Um, let me ask you, at what point did you decide that you were wrestling, that you wanted to see your visions come to light?
Um, Probably 12 or 13 years. I've been running shows off and on for probably 20 plus years. And I was doing them with Sonny Roselli up in central Maine. And we'd run here for a little while and we get tired or whatever. We were also wrestling every weekend somewhere else. And so I stopped running shows, and he's 2 hours from me. So it's kind of hard to, get together to do the promoting and all that other stuff when you're so far away from each other. And then something got dropped into my lap. The local um, high school, somebody there reached out to me about doing a fundraiser. So for probably 3 years, all I did was the one show because they wanted to do a fundraiser. And I was the champ at the first because I was the only one that I knew was going to be here next year. You don't know what's happening from this year to next year. That's a
Yeah, a
long
year's
time.
a long booking time
Yeah,
ahead.
exactly. So as soon as I booked my second show, which is only like 2 towns over, the first show, I lose the title because I knew I had other shows now. I only did it just because I wanted to make sure the continuity always had to make sense to me. You couldn't
Yeah,
just, we're just gonna give it to that guy now. So I always had the ability. That was my whole goal. Is whether it's right now I run in like 5 or 6 different towns. I run all over the place. And other than Geno's, I don't run anywhere more than twice a year. Usually it's just once. To me, it's all one offs because Maine towns aren't big enough to get a crowd every 6 weeks or every 4 weeks or every 8 weeks and get the kind of crowd you want. People have asked me, why don't you do Geno's more often? I said, because I do like 250 people by doing it every 3 months because I charge a cover charge. So if somebody leaves, somebody else can come in and pay that cover. So even though only 180 is allowed at a time, but over 2 hours, 70 people leave and 70 more
Some
people
people
show up.
some people go, some people are
Yeah,
coming there just to
exactly.
drink, not really for the wrestling. They're gonna go home after an hour, then somebody else gonna, "Oh, hey,
Right.
there's wrestling."
And some people are just out and about and they know they got to pay to come in the building.
And then plus
And
by the time the show's over, the bar's still open, so you can still have a drink
you know
after.
what? When my show's over, they're down to like 25 people and they're like half ready to clean up because they do so well in those 2 hours. We do a local metal band. They start at 8:30. They play for a half hour. They have to play original music. Wrestling starts at 9. We do 3 matches. They do the 15-minute intermission, and then we do the other 3 matches. So for 8:30 to 11 for $10,
That's cheap. You can't beat that. I mean, you
and
really
you're in
can't.
town having fun.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's gonna cost me more to get there than to go into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it'll be
That's
worth
the
it.
whole.
It'll be worth it. If I can
Yeah.
only go there for 10, it's worth it for me to go up there. I'll
This
spend the whole night
this
in
let's
Portland.
see, December 8th, December 6th. Have you heard of Hazard?
I love Hazard.
Okay, I was his first trainer
Really?
20 plus
He
years ago. I was his
he
first
told me
trainer.
he lied. He told me it was
Yeah.
Scott Hall. He said he worked with Scott Hall.
Yeah, yeah, but I was his first trainer.
You were the
Ask
first
him,
one
he'll
to
tell
do.
you. Yeah. First day he did so he had everything down so quick. I taught him so much stuff. I said, "What do you want to do?" He goes, "I want to learn how to go backwards over the top rope." I said, "Really?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, "All right, we do this, boom, and you land on your feet and you roll backwards so that you don't hit your head." Okay. He flipped over, landed directly on his feet. I'm like, "You prick. That's just not even fair." I always called him my little phenom because he got everything so quick when I was teaching him. He
He's
is the
good.
North Atlantic champion. He is defending against Ace Romero.
Oh my god. That's like a main dream match right there.
Yes, yes, it is. That is a
I mean, that's
good.
why I was mentioning if he was there in Saco because he's from Saco, Maine. People in
Yes,
Saco
yep, yep.
love Ace Romero.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Ace has
um,
lost about 140 pounds. He's looking really, really
he
good.
looks great.
Yeah,
I saw him
yep,
not too long ago at one of the shows up there, and it might
yeah.
have been Vacation Land Cup, I think. He
Let me
looked
see.
phenomenal. And again, on the other side, Hazard's getting more and more ripped
Oh
every
yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He
And now he's on NWA Power too, which is
Yep.
nice.
Yep. He is a phenomenal wrestler. He is a phenomenal. I still call him a kid. He's still, 10, 12 years younger than I am. So technically it's funny because anybody that's, I kind of got a hand in most people in the state of Maine, and he was one of my early kids that I was teaching back in the day, you know. So it was a lot of fun back then. I had fun learning. I had fun. I still have fun teaching. If honestly, I could make money with a school, it is so hard to make money with a school to keep continuous people coming in new. Okay. I would be doing that instead of promoting because I enjoy training people more than I prefer myself wrestling. Being able to pass on that stuff to me is the best. I love that. Let's see. Gino's poster. We're gonna have a ladies match. We're gonna have Selena Hakate.
Yeah, yeah, Selena
Okay.
Huckabee,
Yep.
yeah.
She's going up against Jesse Nolan.
Ooh,
We
good fight.
have let's see. I got more stuff here. You bear with me. Let me see who we got. Oh, I don't have all the matches laid out yet, but we're gonna have Dr. Heresy on the show. We're gonna have Bobby Ocean on the show. Um I'm gonna be wrestling Cocky Kyle, who Flash Nick McKenna had his last match on our last Gino show, and Kyle decided to try to rough him up afterwards. So I've known Flash. I was Flash's one of Flash's first trainers too, long time ago. So I went out, and so me and him are gonna get it on that day. Um, the show is always off the hook. It's $10. You just walk in the door. We don't do tickets in advance. Literally get there early enough that you're one of the first 180 people. That's the whole goal. I do shows. I'm going to start doing shows in December at Skip's Bar, where I used to run them for years. I'm running them in Fairfield. I got a fundraiser next Saturday in South Portland. Hazard's going to be on that show defending against the former champion Blade Bandit. Um, and we got, I got Tony Atlas is coming to the Fairfield show. I got stuff all over the place.
I was gonna say he still does stuff too, Tony Atlas.
Oh yeah, Tony still wrestles probably 30 times a year. And that's in addition to all the signings and conventions and all that other stuff he does on top of it.
I was gonna say,
Um,
like, you guys in Maine, like, you guys have it kind of down pat where everything's really nicely organized. You run
yeah,
your shows here, then if you go a little bit up, you got, these shows here run by him. You go a little further, you got Limitless. Go a little further, you got, the Poutine guy up in the top of Maine. And
yep. There's
none of
there
the shows are really going against each other.
No, that's because there's so much area. Once in a while somebody will do something that isn't always cool, but not generally. And nobody's running one town over the same night or the night before or whatever. Even if they're running the same town, there's 3 weeks in between them. Because
Yeah.
very few people run every month.
No,
I
but then,
run
like,
every month. I run every month, but not in the same town.
no, and that
You
makes it
know,
easy. Like, well, we'll get shows here. Like, there'll be a Saturday. We'll be like 4 promotions running,
yeah,
and you got 4 people that you want to see. And you're like, where am I supposed to go?
yeah, exactly. But they're just cutting off their own nose to spite their face. They have no. They have a 1 in 4 chance of getting you to come to their show. Because
Yeah,
there's
where
so
if it's an
many
open
promotions.
night, I'm just gonna go, where there's wrestling. I wanna
Right,
go
right.
see
But I mean,
wrestling.
if there's four
There's
companies,
4.
you got to make a decision, and 3 companies aren't going to get you to come. But if they, honestly, if more wrestling took place on Friday nights, there'd be less problems.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. A lot of places throw it up. Some have started Thursday nights, which isn't bad, but
Yeah,
again, Thursday nights is not an easy good draw. You don't get a lot of
no,
people
no. But that's what I'm saying. Friday nights can be a good draw, but a lot of
do a
people
little
don't
bit
like to.
later.
I still run them at 7.
Well, 7's good. I mean, like, not like it's 6. Like, some of these
Oh no,
Saturday
no, no,
shows, if we
no,
get 6,
no! I don't
like,
run
you
any
need to
show.
get past the traffic,
No,
but
unless it's if I'm doing a show Christmas vacation week, it skips. We're gonna run it at 6 because it's meant for the kids. If adults are there, great. The bar's still open. They can still serve food, but the kids have to be out by 9. So I'm just gonna make it. I'm just going back into skips after a little while, but I figured out what works where, and it's fun being able to. My fair shows. I got so many fair shows coming out my nether regions, man. I got 19 different fair days,
see,
and I'm
that's good. You
adding
guys, we
on.
don't even get it. We don't even have 19 fairs near me. We
Well,
don't
no,
even
no,
have
no.
fairs.
I do 10 days in a row at the Skowhegan Fair. I live on the fairgrounds.
Oh, wow. So, like,
Yeah.
everyday wrestling, boom, boom,
Yes.
boom, boom.
Every day is wrestling at the Skowhegan Fair.
That's fun.
Yes. Last year, I had the first full weekend at the Bangor Fair, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This coming year, and 2 shows on that Saturday. This coming year, I got the first weekend, add a second show on Sunday. The next week, I got Thursday, Friday, and 2 more on Saturday.
I mean, you gotta figure that's probably how pro wrestling started. People on
Oh,
fairgrounds
oh, it
for 10
is.
to 20 days
It
at a
was,
time, and
it was
then
one of
they
the
go to
old
another town.
wrestling was one of the old carnival acts.
Yeah.
That's how. Do you ever see any of that? Have you ever heard of that stuff? The
Yeah, I
carnival
know, I
act.
have. Yes, yes.
Do
I
you
like to see
know?
it, like, recent, like, when people bring that kind of
Well,
style
but
back,
that
it's interesting to me.
in the old days, it was real. You used to get win $100 if you could stay in the ring for 10 minutes.
People would be throwing real punches and haymakers and
And
trying to knock each
right,
other
but
out.
those guys were shooters.
Yeah.
Now they always did it right in front of a curtain. The ring was here, and right behind it was a curtain. Do you know why?
No, that
In
I don't.
case they were having too much of a problem defeating the wrestler would muscle him over to the wall, and someone would hit him in the head with something because they couldn't see it because it was behind a curtain.
Get him
Timber,
to go
guess
out.
what?
Boom.
You got pinned
Done.
because $100 was like $1,500 now.
Yeah, but and they probably got smart after these guys weren't able to do every show. After 2 shows, they're no longer working. It's like, okay, let's
No,
make
no,
this a
no, no,
little bit
no, no,
more.
no, no. You don't get it. The wrestler, the guy that was trained, would muscle the hillbilly guy from the woods up against the wall. It wasn't a plant. These were guys out of the stands. If you stayed in the ring for 10 minutes, you'd win $100. And the
Oh,
wrestlers
you
didn't.
just had to be there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So they take on all comers. You had to pay $10 to do it. But if you did, you won 100. So in order for them to make money, they had to defeat all these people.
Yeah, but
So
like
when one
any
of
other
them was too
carnival
hard,
game,
they
that
didn't want to lose $100 they already
uh,
made. So wacko.
yeah, like any other carnival game, you're not gonna win that game. You're
There's
not
a
winning.
reason. That's why it's called a carnival game.
But but that's where wrestling probably did start. The if you look at that, just the kind of atmosphere that is, it kind of brings it back. Like, I've been to a few outdoor shows, fair shows. It has a different environment than
Oh yeah,
in an arena or in
you've been to Maine
clean
shows
arena.
before, right?
Yeah,
For anything besides, other than Limitless, have you been to other shows?
I've been to a few.
Okay, wrestling in Maine minus Limitless is a fair show. That's what the crowds are. They're fair crowds. They're happy. They're into it. They don't. Massachusetts is a hard area to run because they want you to kill each other. Massachusetts can be a rough. The crowd is looking for stuff. In
Well,
Maine,
yeah, you guys are happy in Maine. Mass,
right,
everybody wants to just
exactly. Yeah,
complain.
we're not jaded up here. I love it
I
up
like
here.
That's why I like going up there. You never even get a bad match up there. Everybody
No,
cheers no matter what happens. It's
no,
great.
and the crowd doesn't poop on it.
No, and everybody feels like family. I honestly, I say that every time. Like, I would rather drive 3 hours to Maine than like an hour to Worcester because I like the environment better.
Yep, it's much more. Maine's friendlier anyway. There's a reason why you folks are called massholes.
Well, yeah. Not to mention, there's about 100. There's a
Oh
good
yeah, there's a lot of
significant difference.
promotions. So
Well, Mass, yes.
I was at my work the other day, and I went up to my boss and I said, "Hey, boss, I want you to fire me. This is a shoot. This is real." I said, "Boss, I want you to fire me." He goes, "Larry, why would I do that?" I said, "Then I want you to hire me back to be the court jester because I just want to make sure everybody has fun at work." He said, "I'll do that, Larry, but I'm gonna have to cut your pay." I said, "Never mind. I'm good. I'm good. I'll go back to what I was doing." But to me, I love to have fun. To me, it's just, whether I'm wrestling, whether it's real life, whether it's my family. My wife always tells me, "You joke too much. You're never serious enough." I said, "Well, that's also why I'm a happy 52-year-old.
But you're
I'm
still
not."
wrestling at 52.
Exactly.
Most 52-year-olds
Exactly.
are in the old age home, ready to retire, like sitting
I
down,
see
doing
a lot.
nothing.
I see a lot of my classmates, and there's me and one other guy doing what we love. The other guy is a baseball umpire. He still does it. In the summertime, he's doing 10, 12 games a week. He's doing double headers every night. He make good money. Okay. And we're the only two, and everybody else is looks like they're 65 years old because no one's doing what they love, you
And
know.
yeah, the miserable, just being unhappy every day will take age.
Oh, of
Will
course.
age you incredibly. And it's
Absolutely.
glad to see that you're able to have fun in wrestling and not take it as you take it serious where it has to be the safety,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
this, but you have fun where the fun part should be. Where other people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh no, this gotta be da da da," and it's like, well, now you're just taking all of wrestling
You,
out of wrestling.
I have people, why you want to be the funny guy? Why you want to be this? Why you want to be that? And this was, say 10 years ago when I was doing it. And I would go, who's this? This is when Cena was huge. I go, who's the second most over guy in all WWF? And they look at me and I go, it's Santino Marella. And he don't do nothing. He wrestles 2.5 minutes. And they love him because he's different and he connects with people. Everybody wants to be serious. They want to be the tough guy. They want to do this. They want to do that and all that. I don't want to do any of that. I want to have fun. Sometimes you got to be tough. I mean, you always got to be tough because it hurts falling down. But sometimes you like to play the tough guy when you have to. But you know what? By being the fun guy, I'm different than everybody else. Everybody else either wants to be the cool heel or the tough heel or the cool baby face or all that other stuff. I want to be the goofy turd. I want to be the guy that goes around and makes fun, walking behind the guy and tap the guy on this shoulder and look at him on the other shoulder. That to me, that's fun. I have fun doing that stuff. I'm a
The old
kid.
slapstick comedy kind of stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
Three Stooges
That
was always
physical
my
comedy is
favorite, and
fun.
and that's what kind of wrestling is part of. It's a little bit of Three Stooges, a little bit of
Yeah.
athleticism, a
Yeah.
little bit of everything.
You know what? Have you seen me wrestle before?
Yeah,
Have you seen this before?
Somebody asked me I need to smell your thumb today.
Do you know what I do with that?
I don't.
I check oil.
Right?
I tape that some gun up and I check oil. Well, you know what? Somebody goes, well, I don't know about that. I said, dude, if I run up behind somebody and I do that to something, they go, that's fake. I go, really? Whether it's something that you do or not, all the more power to you. But if you don't know what's coming and you get that, even if that's something you like, you're still gonna go, whoa, for a half second before you
You're gonna
realize
get
what
that.
it is.
You're gonna get the natural reaction.
Exactly. You know what wrestling is? You turn things up to 10. They overreact when I do it to them. But you know what? If I do it to somebody on the street, they're gonna be like, "What the?" They're not gonna no sell that. So I have
Yeah.
fun doing it, man, and it doesn't hurt nobody. It's all fun. Everybody takes life too serious. They got to relax. That's all I do is relax. If I have diabetes, I have high blood pressure, I have gout, I have anxiety. You name it, I got everything, dude. But you know what? It's all under control, and I relax. If I was all stressed out, it would be even worse. You
Probably
know,
wouldn't be here, honestly.
no, I probably wouldn't be. I got
Um,
no desire to get done anytime soon. It is the most fun. I still stay active, which sounds funny because most regular people wouldn't say staying active, but I'm old, so I'm saying I stay active. I run. I do. Last year I did 19 fair days, and I did another 14 shows. I did almost 35 shows last year. No, I did 12 shows. And on several of those other shows, I did 2 shows in a day. So I put on over 35 shows last year myself.
that's wild.
Yeah.
You think
And I
about
do
it
it
all. I
myself.
mean,
You know why I do it myself? I don't trust nobody to get it done, to hang posters. I hang the posters unless I'm co-promoting it with my buddy Sonny or somebody else that I trust and they're in on the ownership part of it with me. I do it all. I don't get out and hang the posters, but I have a list. They get out, I turn the car around, we do them all. The Portland show, we do over 120 places. These are businesses, not on poles. 120 businesses in 6 hours. We are flying.
but it has to be done. That's the way to sell
Exactly.
advertise. People don't do
Exactly.
that, and then they wonder why they don't draw.
Now here's my theory. Too many promoters, excuse me, too many people that run wrestling shows have to promote because they want to be the booker. I have to book because I am a promoter. I
Big difference.
promote first, I book second. And I've told some of my guys, I don't care, book the show for the night. This is what I need for 2 or 3 matches. Book the rest of it. Let's put it all together because I don't care. There's certain couple things I need to get over for the night, but I don't care who wrestles who.
That
I
part
let
doesn't
I
really
want to do that
matter.
tonight. Go for it. Give them some training. Let them figure that stuff out. And then when they bring it to me, I don't like that match. That's good. We'll switch this one and that one, and you did a good job. And put it all together.
So you let
You
people
know,
kind of explore themselves, explore what they want to do in the industry,
whether they
and
want to do
grow.
this themselves. Down the road, they may say, "Hey, Larry, thanks for teaching me all that stuff. I appreciate it. I want to run a show. Could you run it with me?" Sure. Do this, this, and this, and I'll do this, this, and this, and we'll put on a show together. You know, and I'm open. You will never hear a wrestler say anything bad about my shows
I never have. I never heard
because
anybody say anything bad
because
about
I
you or your
don't.
shows.
I am not. I know better than you. I know this. I know that. I know this. 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 I'm going to say, this is what I want. And somebody goes, well, what about doing this? I said, I don't know. Let's think about it. I don't have the set and sewn stuff. There's certain things I want to do, but I can get talked out of anything
But you
because
can
I
also
don't,
explain why you want to do
right,
things the
right.
way
But
you
I
want to
don't
do them.
know everything. I don't claim to know everything. And that's why my shows, my wrestlers will do anything I ask them to do. Dude, this night I need you to work this guy. He's not very good, but he's a local guy, and I need you to get him through the match. And I understand it, and I'll take care of you on the next show with a higher tier match. And they don't question me because I swap everybody around. I give everybody a good spot. Nobody's doing 4-minute jobs. you know, and it's my whole show is that way. I'm not, I don't like squash matches. I won't do squash matches. Um, it's bad for business unless you're doing a TV show or you're trying to build people up for something else. But, and
I
it's
heard you
just,
don't really do any of that hardcore crap, no
nope.
blood, none of that stuff, just
I'll
very
do it once. I'll do it once in a great while. At Geno's, probably every couple years, there always seems to be a reason to bring out the Legos. That's the
yeah,
only. I don't do death matches.
no,
You know
nothing
what?
like
I
that.
like watching death match wrestling. I like it better from Japan because Japan they get the stuff out of the way. If you watch that stuff, they use a light bulb and it smashes. You see the ref kick it out of the middle of the ring. A lot
Instead
of the
of
stuff.
people bumping on top of it every
Well,
every
not even
minute.
that though. Just running the ropes, you can see the stuff powder as they're running across the ring. But over there, a lot of that stuff is gone. There's so much glass in the middle of the ring that they can't have a match. They can't go to the ground again unless they're selling it. They can't throw a hip toss or whatever else after that first light tube goes down. But on this other one, they can still run spots and do their full matches and then bring the weapons into it as compared to working around the weapons the whole night. So I love Danny Demonto from ICW is one of my buddies.
Yeah,
He was up here for NWA on Fire, and I love Danny. I went down and saw him. I won't get down there this weekend for the ICW show, but on the last one I was down there for it. And he says, Larry, you always have a spot. You always have a seat at my show. I said, I got no desire to wrestle it, but I come watch it. I want to come hang out with you, Danny. He said, come on down, buddy.
it's actually gonna be my first time I'm going to that show. I've never been to one yet.
It's a really original building. Um, and Danny DeMonto's a hell of a guy. And like I said, I've known him probably 14 years. I think on Fire was quite a while ago at this point. Um, but it was, you know, I go to other companies. I'm wrestling for Trooper NWW Extreme on Saturday.
Yep.
Um, and I go to these shows to hang out with my old friends. I still got to go get in touch with JC Marks because I haven't wrestled for him for a few years, just so I can go
You
hang out
come
with anybody I haven't seen in a while.
you gotta
You
come to
know,
NCW sometime. Say hello, right?
yeah, absolutely. And it's other than the military, the police, the firemen, that kind of thing. I think wrestlers have the best brotherhood there is, better than any union workers, teacher unions, any of that other stuff, because we have our lives and our necks in each other's hands, you know.
Yeah, the
And
trust you guys have for each other when you have a match, it's like, well, you
yeah,
guys you are,
and
you're putting your
you
life
have
in your
that
hands.
automatic respect for each other. So I tell everybody, I said, I go to these shows to either meet my old friends or to meet new ones. And I've been in this business 26 years. I might have 3 people I hate. I don't even know who the hell they are. I'm just picking a number. I don't have anybody active that I remember that I hate because it's been so long ago that even if it came up, I wouldn't even know. To me, it's all fun. Have fun with it. But like I said, we're all brothers. Our necks are in I got to go back to work on Monday. Please don't break my neck on Saturday. So it gets you that whole respect instantly from everybody on the show.
Who do you think right now is on fire in the scene up in that area?
um Hazard. Let's see. Let's see. Maine is huge. See, the problem is Maine is so big.
It is.
um let's see. um Jason Maverick is coming along really well. He's a big man.
Yeah, he is.
um One of the guys that I took under my wing that we're going down there, Lee Miller.
Okay.
Um, let's see. I'm trying to think of the companies. Uh, JP O'Reilly likes to dive and fall on crap. Uh, not my gig. He's a good guy. Let's see. There's a bunch of not new guys, younger guys that are starting to come up now, from Limitless Dojo.
Yep.
And then you got guys like uh, Jake Hess is finishing up in March because he was in National Guard and he's finishing up and he's gonna actually go join the army.
Oh
So
wow.
between now and March, it's his 4 or 5 month. do what he can before he goes, because he's going to do it for a career. He's going to be gone for 20 years. Um, let's see. Dylan Nix is doing very well. He teams with Big Cat. Um, Donkey Boys. I teamed with him for on quite a few shows. I tried to teach him some tag team wrestling, a little psychology. I got him over at Gino's. Now I'm gonna kick him off on the side, let him go on his own thing. I got him up there. Let's see if he can keep it. I'm gonna find a new tag team partner, and we're gonna start doing stuff down the road. Uh, let's see. Blade Bandit's always killing it. Looks like a wrestler. He's 215 pounds. He's in great shape. Grown man. Um, let me see. Hold on. I got a list of all the wrestlers I call. You got me. That wasn't one I was expecting to hear. Let's see here. Who do we got? I got Maul, I think I gave you the ones that I'm really high on right now. Alexander Lee's
Yeah, he's
always
another
good.
one.
He always gives me credit for teaching him stuff, and I appreciate that. He's one of the trainers up to the Limitless Dojo. Good kid. Like I said, I don't mean it as a disrespect. Some people think you call him a kid, it means a disrespect. It's just I'm a different generation, man. All these guys didn't start till after like 2010, and I'd already been in the business 11 years.
I feel
You know,
like anybody, and even if they're a year younger, is always a kid.
no, no, that's not right. But I'm a different literally, I'm a Gen X. Everybody else is Gen Z. I was born in 71. I'm a whole different generation than most of these guys. Um,
I'm right
the
up there in 80. I'm at 83, so I'm like in between them all. But yes,
See,
I get what you're saying. I
yeah,
do
so,
like the 20-year-olds or the kids that are coming out of the dojos. I will call them kids because
yeah,
to me they're kids.
right, but I don't do it to call them kid. To me, it's a term of
It's a
affection. It's
term.
not
It's
a,
just a
it's
word.
yeah, it's not a put down. Some people think it's a put down, and it's not. Um, I have been using Johnny Pierce a lot up here.
Ooh, he's good too. I
He
like
is
him.
a big man. A couple years ago, I didn't like where he was mentally, totally changed it. Friggin', I love the guy now. Loved him then too, but you could see where the things were
He
missing.
he's made some
Um,
turn. He's made some good turnarounds and strides now. I've seen.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, but the younger guys, my shows have to be a lot of the younger guys, because I know what I can draw. Um, if I'm running shows and I'm losing my money, my wife's gonna beat my ass, and then I ain't gonna be running no more shows. So you gotta run efficient to what you got. But anytime I use my Geno show as a thank you for all my old friends. Heresy came up and did one show, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is great." It takes months to convince people to come up. They come up one time and go, "Can I come back?" Sure. So I get a lot of that. That's the show everybody wants to come to. People message me on Facebook and they go, "Hey, I'd love to work for you. Can I do Geno's?" I'm like, "Yeah." As soon as you do all these other shows, everybody wants to do Geno's. Geno's is like my mini pay-per-view, man. That's where I reward all my guys that do all my other shows. I get a show on my
You
Geno
give him the
show.
good Gino show. I
Yeah,
love it.
exactly. But yeah, I'd say Lee, Jason, uh, Donkey Boy, and it's funny because Hazard is not 20 years younger than I am,
No,
but
no,
he don't.
Taz is people don't get it. Has been around a little bit, and he's much more like seasoned and talented than people give him credit
Yeah,
for.
oh yeah. You don't realize how long he's been around.
No,
You know,
not until you like when I found out like when I think at the NCW because he did NCW not too long ago, and they talked
yep.
about him being like an original champion or something. And they
Oh
talked
yeah,
about the date, and
yeah,
people
yeah,
were just
yeah,
like, "What? What?
yeah. Him,
Huh?"
him and Cameron Matthews used to be 69 degrees.
Yeah.
when he was really little, like 125 pounds little.
Well, I
You
like
know.
his old partner too. There was Luke Robert there.
Yeah, yeah. Now he
Um,
wrestles Cameron Matthews.
yeah, the new
Yeah,
thing, but that's where I first actually saw them. They were doing a chaotic show, and I was just amazed at the acrobatics that those two had for A
yep,
their age and B just that style of wrestling. You never
yeah,
seen people
yeah.
do these kinds of things. I'm just like, damn.
Hazard is very physical, but he's also very agile. And like I said, dude, he gets everything. I've never seen him miss anything. He doesn't try stuff he shouldn't, but everything he tries, he hits. I've never
Yeah,
seen him miss anything.
he's one
You
of
know,
those just
he's a
natural born
consummate
athletes.
he's the consummate professional wrestler. You know, anything you ask him to do, he does. Um, but yeah, it's a fun time to be in Maine wrestling. There are shows all over the state. Some places, my buddy Ryan Colson runs one weekend a year down east, and in two shows last year, I think he drew like 600 plus people in down east, no town named Maine. So last year, the big show he does, he did like over 350 people. He did over another like 275 people in Calais. you know
Oh,
he does one weekend a year. He puts everything he has into it, then he goes back to his regular job, and then he comes back and does it again. Other people are doing other multiple shows. But there's enough wrestling in enough different areas that nobody's stepping on anybody's toes, and everybody's getting along.
yeah, I
And
like that. I like that people are actually friendly, and you don't see
yeah,
promoters trying to snub other promoters or anything. 'Cause at the
exactly.
end of the day, the fans are the fans, and
Yeah,
they're everybody's fans.
yeah,
They're the fans of wrestling, not just one promotion. So you
yeah,
want them to go and
you got it
explore,
right.
you know.
And you know what? It's once in a while something happens, but you know what? We take care of it. It ain't a big deal. It isn't a perpetual thing. It doesn't constantly happen. But once in a while it happens. It happens everywhere.
Yeah,
But I've had to, like, once in a while I have a show booked and somebody else doesn't know about it and they got something else booked, and I'm like, don't worry about it. I ain't got to run. I'll run some other time. I don't see, my thing is, if I'm not going to draw, I'm not going to run. I don't mind canceling a show if it means that, it's if there's 200 people to draw from, and or say there's 175 people that can go between these two shows. I don't want to run a show where I'm only going to get 75, 85 people, which is half those people. I'd
just do
rather
it
not
next
run.
week
Let's
where you
let
can
other.
get all 200.
Yeah, right. Run it on a different day. Run it at a different. So to me, I don't worry about it. It's some people run because they have to run. I don't have to run.
You're kinda
I got
running for the you're running for the fun of it too.
dude. I got 4 shows I'm booking between this month and next month. You
That's
know
fun.
that.
That's just fun. That sounds fun to me.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of work though.
It
When
is,
my
but
fair
the work
shows are
can be
done.
fun. Work can
Oh
be fun.
yeah. But in the end of June, I had 4 shows in the last weekend at the Ospey Valley Fair. The last weekend in July, I had 5 shows in 4 days at Bangor. 10 days later, I had 10 shows in 10 days at the Skowhegan Fair. 2 weeks later, I had the Harmony Fair Labor Day weekend. 2 weekends after that, I had the New Portland show. Uh,
And how do you get the
and
talent dedicated for so long? Or do you just keep switching them out?
I had this is my list of people all over New England, and I used to run out of a notebook, but I have so many shows going. I had to go buy a tablet so I could use my spreadsheets, so I had to know which people were doing which town.
Which show and which town
Oh
and which
yeah,
show and all
when you
that.
do 10 days in a row, you're not going to get many people that are willing to do all 10 days. I got one guy. He literally takes his vacation so he can work all 10 days.
Hey,
I had another guy that did like 6, and other guys, some guy can, and literally the week before I go, because people have their schedule, I go, when you figure out your schedule for next week, tell me which 2 days you got off. I'll book you
like
those days.
WrestleMania week, you can just go down there and work 7 days straight if you want. I mean, that's not a
Mm-hmm.
bad deal for a
Yeah,
wrestler
yeah.
if you have the time and you
I
don't.
live right on the campground. It's fun. I, go- I have a good relationship with all the schools because once again, my budget is what my budget is. But I have a campground. I have a spot right at the campsites right there at the fairgrounds. I have my camper. It has room for 4 people inside plus me. I got a big enough area. Some people like to go tenting outside. And right across the parking lot's a Walmart and a Hannaford and anything you need. And then there's fair food. The whole thing's fair food. Go have this demolition derbies and all that stuff. People
My
come just to
wife's gonna
hang out.
drag my wife's gonna drag me to this next year. I can feel it. She loves that
It,
kind of stuff.
it's
The
it's
fair food
oh
alone.
yeah, but I'm diabetic. So I have probably two things in 10 days. I'll snag a few fries from one guy one day and 2, 3 days later have a little bit off a blooming onion,
Work
but
the
I only,
work the fried dough over the course of 10 days.
yeah, yep, yep, yep. But it's a lot of fun, man. I,
Well,
uh,
I'm here for it. I love to hear, and I love to hear that. Like I said, I love to hear that you have fun in it, that you
oh,
enjoy it,
yeah,
that this isn't a burden
yep,
to you, that you don't seem annoyed by like your passion. You're living your dream, and you love doing it.
yes, absolutely. That's really what I do, man. I love to still wrestle. I still love to wrestle for the people. Um, as my body slow down a little bit more, you learn how to work a little more and wrestle a little less. But no one ever says they leave my matches without having a good time.
That's
And
wonderful.
that's nobody. Everybody wants to be and the best part is it's easier on me, and everybody else wants to do all that other stuff. I'm a completely set apart, different. No one else wants to do it. So it makes me special as I'm slowing down naturally. So I'm not having to do stuff I couldn't do, and no one wants to do it but me. And wrestling is a three-ring circus. Okay, here comes match number one. You may like it, you may not, you may not. But if you didn't like that one, I'm going to give you something completely different in ring two. And if by chance that isn't perfect what you like, but you like the some, you're going to love what's in match three. So we're giving something to everybody.
Yep.
You don't have to love every match, be enthralled in every match, but you don't have to love every match and the style. That's why we give them different stuff. I do the comedy wrestling, the ha-has, you know, but when it comes time for me to hit somebody, they love it when I hit somebody, you know. Say hi, Eric. Hi.
Well,
Dad's
I mean, that's great though, and
and
like I said,
as
I
you can
can't wait
tell
now
I
to get
have
out there.
And as you can tell, I have diarrhea of the mouth. We've been on the air for an hour 15.
I was just gonna say, we look at the time. I got, I guess, one more question for you. I'm gonna ask, and just it's just a pretty simple one. When's your next shows that people can come and see,
Oh,
and how
shoot.
can they find you?
Absolutely. You can find me at just type in Scufflin without the G. This is Facebook. I'm old. I only use Facebook. Scufflin without the G, Hillbilly, and then type in Cousin Larry, and mine will come up. You also can type in North Atlantic Wrestling Association. That's my company. A week from this Saturday, so 9 days from now, we're doing a fundraiser at the South Portland High School gym for the high school football boosters. Their varsity team is very, very good. I think they're second in the state. Um, and we did this last year. They had a pre-sold of like over 230 pre-sold. They sold themselves.
Wow,
When I do a fundraiser, I give more money to the fundraiser for every ticket they sell compared to the ones I sell. That makes them want to go out and work. If they go out and work, they make a lot more money. Last year we helped them raise like $2,500.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And we only had like 5 weeks last year to put that on. They got everything well over like 2 months out. So I'm expecting at least that this time. So that is South Portland High School a week from Saturday. Uh, Friday, November 29th, that is Thanksgiving Black Friday. Everybody does digital shopping now. No one goes to the stores at 4 in the morning anymore. So there's no need to skip that day. I used to run on Saturdays, couldn't come up with a building I wanted on Saturday, so I'm running it on Friday. But no one goes shopping on Fridays anymore. They do everything online. They get it by Amazon or Walmart Plus or whatever else. Nobody goes to the stores when they first open up. What else you going to do? You got the long weekend. You had your turkey yesterday. You're all done with it. Come out for wrestling. It's at the community center. And let's see, what is it? Let's see. First, hold on. Go back to South Portland. South Portland are $12 in advance. You can buy them at Maine Vintage Toys, $15 at the door. I even give you a chance to save $3 by buying them in advance. The show at Fairfield is at Dow's. The tickets are at Dow's Quick Stop. right there in Fairfield. It's 15 for front row, 12 for general admission. We charge $3 more at the door because we'd rather have you buy them in advance. Front row's always gone. So even day of, you're getting a general admission ticket for $15. It's not a lot of money. It's not like,
No.
20, $25 I see some other folks doing. I don't do that. I'm not looking to get rich. I just need to pay the bills. I make some money off it, but I'm not looking to gouge nobody. I try to be as fair as I can with all my prices.
Probably
So
why you've
that
been
is
running for so long.
exactly that. And then that's the 29th. 1 week later on that Friday is when we go back to Geno's. That's the one with Ace Romero and Hazard and me versus Cocky Kyle. And you got Selena Hadake versus Jesse Nolan. That's 3 matches. We're also going to have Dr. Heresy, Bobby Ocean, Rugged Rick Daniels is going to be there, Lee Miller, Jason Maverick. We got a hell of a show coming that night. $10, $10. That's from 8:30 to 11. And then that's
Now let
the
me ask you a question about
I'm
that,
not
because
even done yet. Hold on. Let me
oh,
get them all out or I'm
oh,
going to forget them. That's
okay, okay.
Geno's. That's number 3. Number 4 is just like I ran Thanksgiving, Black Friday. I'm also running the Saturday of Christmas vacation for the kids. I'm doing it at Skip's Bar. It's a 6 o'clock show. It's going to be that same thing. It's just going to be $12 for everybody in advance, 15 at the door. It's still not bad priced. It's as cheap as I can make it. Prices for everything has gone up these days. Um, Tickets, you can buy them right there. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be a nice 2-hour show, family friendly. The South Portland show, the Fairfield show, and the Skip show are all going to be family friendly shows. Geno's will not. That is 21 plus. Now your question. My apologies.
Oh, I was just gonna ask why we were talking Geno's. What time should people come to kind of get
Um,
there if they want to get in?
just make sure you're there before like 10 minutes to 9. I've had bands that draw. Okay. My guy that books people. If anybody here wants to play on that show, you got to get in touch with Joe McBrady on Facebook. That's the guy that books the bands, not me. People message me. I'm like, dude, I don't know the scene. He knows the scene. Okay. I've had bands that have such a draw that we are literally sold out. We are already at 180 people before the wrestling starts. So you may want to be there at 8:45. You don't have to show up at 8 o'clock, but 8:45,
Okay, so
you're
it's not
good.
like it's not 4 o'clock in the afternoon camp
Nope,
out.
nope, 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 nope. 15 minutes early before the 9 o'clock, and you'll be okay. You may not be up front, but you'll get in the building. Um, and it is, you know, the bands are, I've had touring bands that want to play this. Um, they contact my buddy Joe. He books the stuff. I don't know nothing from nobody. I just know where to send them. But I've never had a band say they didn't like it. I've never had a wrestler that's worked for me that hasn't enjoyed it, and I've never heard from fans because I give them an honest dollar, honest content for an honest dollar. My shows are in and out in 2 hours because that's the attention span. I have no desire to go 3.5 hours. I don't make enough money to do 3.5 hours because then I got to pay 3.5 hours worth of wrestlers. You know,
Makes
the,
sense
the
to
main
me.
the mainer in me still says, Larry, you got to do that. So you know why I wrestle? One of the reasons why I wrestle, if I wrestle, I don't have to pay one person. I'm already there. So but it's I have so much fun and it feels like I'm just spitting out the same stuff, but it's just genuine love for the business. It's I've met so many people and I have so many friends, and it is the most fun, well, physically, intrusive thing you can have. You wake up from work the next day and your shoulder don't work just because you slept the wrong way after you messed it up. You know, but it's just the way it is. I don't play pool. I don't shoot darts. I don't drink. I don't do. I don't play. I don't go golfing. My hobby pays money. Instead of costing money. My hobby is professional wrestling, and I love it. And I hope that people that have been on today for the last hour and 20 minutes have realized that if nothing else, Larry likes wrestling.
I
Larry
think so.
loves
I've
wrestling.
learned that. I mean, I had a feeling you loved wrestling, but I can really see that you love
Yeah,
it,
it's to me, it's just, this is my getaway. This
and
is
not just any like in the actual art of wrestling, not
Oh
like
yeah.
I said, like
Oh
not the
yeah.
spotty shit that's going on, and not this like what wrestling was back in the day that drew you as a fan as a kid. You still like to push out now.
I do as much old school stuff as I can. I don't like a lot of today's wrestling. It's jump for me, jump for me, jump for me. You know, the fans say jump and the wrestlers say how high. I That's not my deal. It's listen to the story I'm telling. I'll get you involved. Play with me. Go around. We're gonna have some fun. You don't have to. You don't have to kill yourself to do this. I told people. I still tell people. I'm 52. You've been wrestling 3 years. I'll still be around longer than you. Because
Hey,
they'd rather burn hard and die fast, not literally, but they get so run up that they can't
like I
do it
said,
anymore.
that bump count, man. You gotta keep
Oh
watch. If
yeah.
you know how much your body can take, ease it up, spread it over
But you
time.
know why I'm still able to do this at 52? Because I haven't stopped doing it.
That's another
No
thing.
one's gonna
Once
be
you
able to
take a
start. No one's ever gonna be able to start training at 52 and do this.
no, and if you took a 10-year, if you took like a 10-year hiatus, it would have been hard to get back into it.
It would be very hard. Yep. I mean, I've dinged some shoulders and done some stuff where I had to I didn't stop, but I had to slow down for 5 or 6 months, and you do what you got to do, and you get back in there. And anyone that tells you this stuff doesn't hurt, of course it hurts. Every time you fall down, it hurts. Smack your hand off the ground and just tell me just smacking your hand doesn't hurt. It goes away, but you still feel it every time. Anybody tells you they don't, they're lying.
Well, thank you very much, cousin Larry, for coming on the VSW podcast. It's been a
Absolutely.
pleasure.
What does VSW stand for?
Versace Stoner Wrestling.
Oh, there you go. Well, it
I
was a
started a
pleasure.
I started a podcast in 2020 when I started going to indie shows in 19 and realized a lot of people weren't talking about all these cool shows. So I said, you know what? I'm going to come on. I'm not going to talk about WWE and AEW. I'm going to talk about these small shows I see, NCW and
Support
all these
your
other shows.
independent wrestling, guys. Hold on just a second. Whether it's me or anybody else, unless you have a personal disdain for somebody on the show, if you see a wrestling show coming to your town, it's not that expensive. Just go. You don't have to drive 45 minutes, but if something's 20 minutes down the road, go. If you like wrestling, if it totally, if you can't stand it after one show, that's fine. But not every show is going to be like that one show. So give it a chance. Support your indie wrestling. It's way more economical. Your parking is cheaper. You're going to get in and out of the building quicker, and the wrestlers will talk to you. All right. They're
There
going to
you
shake
go,
your
folks.
hand. They may be a bad guy and they may, you got to buy this because if not, I'm going to. They're just having fun with you. Play along with them, have a good time, throw down a little money, buy a t shirt. Nobody here makes any money doing this, really. Help support your wrestlers. Buy a t shirt, buy an 8x10, take a picture with them.
Don't do
All
what I
right.
did though. Don't buy like too many. I had to buy two extra closets for indie shirts because in 2020 I was like, the time was rough. Nobody was wrestling,
Yeah.
so I wanted to help out. I knew that the extra cost of the weekend, people are selling shirts. They're not able to do that, so
Right.
I started to do like a giveaway. Put your shirt, your link down. I'll pick one at random. Well, I started doing one a week. Then I started doing one a day. I ended up with so many shirts in 2020 that I had to buy dresser drawers.
You
Then I
don't
got
have to
more.
do that much, guys, but just
No,
help
not
out
that much.
wherever you
But
can.
buy a shirt if you see it. If you like the
There
wrestlers,
you
support
go.
them. Honestly though,
I
it's
got
been a pleasure.
NAWA shirts. I got Cousin Larry shirts. I even got future pro wrestler shirts for all the little kiddies.
See, that's great. That's smart.
And I even have
You
those in
know,
adult sizes so that you too, whether you're a wrestler or not, you may want to be one with nothing more than in your head. You walk around with your future pro wrestler shirt. You got to be able to advertise yourself.
hey, it's true. There isn't. I mean, yes, like you said, starting in an age is a little bit hard, but I mean, there is people like Dylan Nix who did start a little later
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
grasped very fast
Oh
and is
yeah.
now doing great things.
Yeah. And you don't have to be a wrestler. Everybody thinks they're going to be a wrestler. You don't have to be. You can be a referee. You can be an announcer. There's all kinds of different ways to be in this business without being a wrestler. It takes an odd, weird sort to actually on purpose hurt yourself. You know, Being a referee is referees are hard to find sometimes, especially if you're good.
Yeah,
Sometimes referees can make as much as wrestlers if they're good. You know, and ring announcers, wrestlers. The problem is everybody. I don't want to be a wrestler, but I want to be a manager. There are managers everywhere. That's to be up here without having to put as many dues in. But if you go building rings and help put up chairs and do all that other stuff, you know how when I book people, it's the guys that show up with other wrestlers that don't have a spot and just show up. If they help and I have them, I know the people are coming. Cool, I'll put you on something. I even if it's not even a match today, you do this time, and I'll put you on the next time we come back. Oh, will you? Yes, I will, because you're willing to come here. I didn't invite you. You asked. I said sure, come on down. That's how you get. I got wrestlers. I can always find wrestlers. It's people that are willing to help me are the ones that are going to get the spot. So if you're one of them wrestlers and you're looking for a spot and you ain't got nothing to do that night, jump in somebody's car, show up at the building. That's what I'm going to all you aspiring wrestlers, that's what I am going to take into account when I need somebody. Hey, dude, the Alex English from Next Gen, he just started riding with people. He came to my shows and I started putting him on shows. Are you giving me the sigh over there? Oh, okay. I thought my wife was giving me the kaputs. Um, but that's the best experience I can tell you is go to shows. You don't have to go ask for matches, none of that stuff. Just go introduce yourself and tell them you're a wrestler. How can I help you? You know, sometimes you can run the door. Sometimes you got this. I got a spot where I need a security guy to take a bump. Cool. That's the first spot before you got a match. Somebody didn't show up. You bring your gear. Okay. Always bring your gear bag. If you don't bring your gear bag, you deserve to get chopped many times. But that's my goal today is to bring intelligence to people. You bring your gear bag, bring your respect for people, keep your mouth shut and your eyes and ears open, and that's how you're gonna get spots. By sitting home, you ain't gonna get a spot. You're sitting at home and you ain't wrestling. Or you go to a show where somebody else is already there that's going on the show. You ain't gonna have to spend your own gas money. Hey, can I jump in? I'd like to see about whatever. And on my shows, if you do anything, you ain't getting a lot, but everybody gets paid. You work the front door, you get paid. You work concessions, you get paid. You work the merch, you get paid. You go collect stuff at the table, you get paid. You know, and that's how I know that it's called professional wrestling. It ain't necessarily the amount of money you make, but everybody gets paid. That's the way the business is supposed to be. All right.
Yeah, I love it. Thank
That's
you
my
very
that's my
much.
hacksaw Jim Duggan. Ho. And
Oh,
you have actually hold on. First, you got to cross the eyes. Then just hacksaw Jim Duggan. All right. I want to wish everybody have a good night. He told me 40, 45, 50 minutes. We only did an hour and a half. I'm not doing very good. I can't keep time. But I hope to see everybody at the matches. I got 4 big shows in the next 2 months. Whether it's my show, anybody else's show, enjoy professional wrestling, enjoy independent wrestling. And this is the Scuffling Hillbilly Cousin Larry from the old North Atlantic Wrestling Association, wishing Versace a good day, all the fans good day, my family, my friends, even my wife, even though she's in the other corner and can't stand the fact that I'm on the thing as long as you, she'll get over it. Tough crap. Have a good night, and we'll see ya at the matches.
thank you. And thank you, everybody, for watching at home. It's been a pleasure. And you know what to do support indie wrestling. Thank you, everybody. Versace Stoner out.